I hope you are able to see the screen. Screen is visible. Cool, great. Good morning, Ajinkya. All right. So before we go ahead and start to discuss on a few things, I just want to know how many of you have been into the stream of web development or full stack development. Just want to know how many of you have a little bit of an idea about web development or full stack development. Okay, just give me a yes in the chat section so that I could know, or just give me a me in the chat section. Okay, a few people. Oh, okay, a lot of people. Great. How many of you have literally no idea on full stack, or literally no idea on anything? Like no idea on web development, no idea on full stack. Anyone? Okay, great. That works. All right. So we have a very mixed crowd, right? So we have few people who have been into web development. Then there are few people who have literally no idea on what's going on, right? But yeah, we'll set an idea, we'll set an agenda, we'll be creating projects, we'll be learning a lot of things, right? So that way, and yeah, there are few things you need to keep in mind. Is I am pretty open to questions, okay? And I'll be very, very grateful for answering all your doubts, but please, 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 I highly request you, if you have any doubts, you can stop me anywhere in the session and you can ask me your doubts. Please, please don't hesitate in asking any doubts. I hope I'm audible, right? I'm pretty audible. I'm pretty audible, right? Okay, perfect. So I highly will recommend you check your settings and audio mics and stuff like that. Okay, sure. First thing, before we sign up to this, if you would be having any queries or any doubts, you can always contact me. Before we start off, let me actually give you a quick introduction about myself, that who I am. Of course, you should be knowing who is from whom are we learning stuff. So my name is Arun Kudial, and I'll be the instructor for the whole workshop. I'll be giving you all the heads up. I am currently working at Apple as a subject matter expert. And alongside, I'm also working with Inomatics Research Labs for quite a long time now. Okay, so I'll be taking care of everything that will be going on in the workshop, starting from the concepts to projects to doubts, everything I'll be taking care of. Okay, and you can reach me anytime, even on LinkedIn. You can reach me up on anytime. Though you will have Discord, I'll explain Discord in a little while. But yeah, you can reach me out on LinkedIn as well. I posted the URL in the chat section just right now. Feel free to give me a heads up. Another thing, you can give us a follow on LinkedIn. And the reason I'm asking you for this is because just in a month or so, we'll be coming out with internship, a nationwide internship where there are going to be thousands of people taking part, creating applications alongside with me. We'll be learning stuff, we'll be creating stuff, we'll be doing a lot of stuff, a lot of projects. So that's going to come up. So stay tuned. You can give us a follow so that you stay in touch. And yeah, of course, we'll be having, you will get the certification of the completion of the course. You'll also get LMS. I think the people might have told you that you will get LMS, right? Any idea on LMS? Any idea on LMS, guys? Have you ever seen LMS? No. Okay, I'll show you the LMS. So LMS is basically nothing but a learning management system. So you can use this LMS if you actually miss out few sessions. I highly don't recommend or highly don't encourage missing out sessions, but just in case if you do, you can, of course you'll get assignments. Like that is like default. Of course you'll get assignments. We'll be creating projects as well. So that is like cool. So we'll do that. Okay. So out here, this is something which is called as an LMS. This is going to be a learning management system wherein you'll get all your recordings and everything that you'll be having. Let's say I missed off a session. Okay, let's say I missed off a session and I just want to go back and just want to look into what's going on in the session. So I can just simply click on to my batch. You will be assigned to a batch and I can just click down here and I'll get all my recordings, right? Let's say I'm looking into front-end development and version control. So here you can get all your recordings. So if you'll click onto any of the recordings, you will be able to see and access those recordings, something like this. Okay, so this is what is called as LMS. And after the session gets completed, we'll enroll you people to this LMS, wherein you will be able to access all the videos and the sessions that you might have missed off. Okay. Full stack developer, of course. Okay. Now, I'll just give you a little heads up with few things. Okay. Any doubts as of for now? Anything that you want to ask as of for now? Anybody else who want to like ask anything as of for now? Anything? And even this session will get recording. Nothing? Okay. Please excuse me for that. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so we are coming up with internship very, very soon, very, very soon. And most probably in like 15, 20 days, we'll be starting off our internship. So of course, you can apply for the internship. Internship is for everybody who has a little idea on, full stack development or web development. And he want to learn, he want to grow, he wants to work on a lot of projects. That is what the internship is all about. Yeah, even school going students, if you know how to work on websites, you know how to create applications, the internship is yours. For the internship, I will give you the Discord. We'll have a discussion about Discord in a little while. You will also be a part of Discord. Yeah, so we have a Discord community. You will be a part of the Discord. Okay. So there, I'll just give you a heads up how you can apply for the internship. But yeah, that I will talk about at the end of the session, not right now. Okay, that will work. We have a lot of courses: data science, AWS, and digital marketing, full stack. We have a lot of courses. Not by me, but somebody else. I just take care of the full stack vertical. Yeah, we have a lot of. Okay, so this way, all the questions related to like jobs and internship, we'll have a discussion about it at the end of the session. If you'd be having any doubts, we'll cater that up. I'm not audible. The reason is, how will Shiva, of course, listen me. I'll simply will go ahead and write it down here. Connect your mic. Connect your mic. Cool. Yeah, I think he might have not connected up his mic or something. Cool. So shall we start? Start karen? Let's start off. Shall we? Shall. All right. All right. Before we start and jump directly onto, doing codes and writing code, there is no, okay, yeah. Let's start it on here. There is literally no prerequisite on anything. Okay. I'm not expecting you to know anything. We'll start from scratch. We'll do everything that we're doing. And you actually don't need anything related to, full stack development or web development vertical. Nothing, zero. Start from bare minimum scratch. We'll create projects. We'll be doing a lot of stuff. But the only thing that I'd be requesting from you is to pay a little bit attention. And once you start to pay a little attention, you'll get to know everything. Okay. And yeah, of course, don't hesitate to ask me doubts. All right. So yeah, let's start, shall we? Yeah, it's Java FSD, but Java is in backend. We typically take Java, but will not be doing any backends. Yeah, you can make notes, though I'll be sharing out notes as well, Arun. Okay, so yeah, if you want to create notes, you can. But if you don't, it's fine. I'll share these notes on the Discord server. Okay, shall we start now? Start, Kiran? Perfect. So let's start with the topic, or let's start with first explaining what full stack is or why full stack is so important. Okay, so there is a course which is called as full stack development, which is a part of your software development, right? Software or application development. Now, this is getting so much popularity in the market. It's creating a lot of buzz, it's creating a lot of noise in the market now. The reason is a full stack developer is somebody who pretty much manages everything in a software or anything in the application. Now, what is everything and anything in the application? We'll talk about it. But when you discuss off with full stack development, there are two very important verticals of a full stack developer. One is the front end development, which we'll be doing throughout. So one vertical is called as front end development. And then there is another vertical which is called as a back-end development. We'll talk about back-end in a little while, but let's as of now, let's focus on to the front-end development part. Now, you have to be very, very particular about what is front-end and what's back-end, and what goes in front-end development, what goes in back-end development. Once you have a clear idea about both the ends, you pretty much will be able to decide where you need to grow as your career into. Now, when you talk about front-end development, now try and imagine any web application or website that you like, maybe Netflix, maybe Amazon, maybe anything that you think about, or maybe YouTube. Okay. Now, there are two verticals of the application. There is a presentational component, which basically shows you how the look and the feel of the application is. For example, Netflix, when you click on Netflix, all the animations that you see, every content that you see aligned, everything that you see and what you feel comes under the front end development part. Front end development basically consists of UI and UX, user interface and user experience. User interface is something of the components that you see getting aligned in an application or in a website. So in this case, what happens is that whatever you create, whatever the applications you build, how that application is looking like is basically your UI, and how the experience of the user is going to be. That is like how easily can I navigate to movies? How easy is it to search movies? How easy is it to search, TV shows or anything in Netflix? That is your user experience. So that's what we'll be learning throughout the whole workshop course. We'll be learning how to create UIs, how to design UX and all these things. Now, in order to learn front-end development, there are a lot of verticals around with this. There are a lot of technology stacks that goes in order to learn UI and UX. The very basic thing that we'll be starting off from today itself is the very first technology that you should be knowing, that is called as an HTML5. Now, a lot of people think that they know HTML, but actually they don't. Okay. Now, let's do a social experiment. How many of you might have learned HTML like in 7th or 8th or 9th class? I'm pretty sure a lot of people. Since childhood, you would be knowing how to at least write the basic code of HTML. That is for sure, right? And the code that you used to write like half a decade or 5 to 7 years down the lane, the HTML that you used to use is completely different than the HTML that we use now, which is HTML5. And HTML has grown drastically, and you can do a lot of stuff with HTML these days, like literally a lot of things. We'll see that, we'll explore it. Now, starting from multimedia to images to creating navigation bars to HTML5 semantics, everything that you talk about, HTML5 has basically, created a lot of buzz and, has actually evolved throughout the whole transition. So this HTML basically gives you a little structure of the whole application, that what are all the things you want to include in the application. So that is what we use HTML for creating basic structure. Okay, I'll explain this to you in a greater detail, but we are just talking about the technology stack. Now, in order to style things up, you will be using CSS3. Now, of course, CSS is really, really important. If you know how to apply right CSS at right time, at right position, trust me on a fact, you will build beautiful applications out of it. Okay. The only thing is that people know CSS, but not to the depth wherein they'll be able to do the stuff that they want. What happens generally, and people will agree for the people who might have done web development before, when you use CSS, what happens is that you start to write few code which starts to align the whole application in a complete different way, and you have to set yourselves down up to it, saying, "Chalo, theek hai, yahi chal raha hai, to yahi chala lete." Happens with you people? For the people who have designed web applications or websites, हुआ है कभी आप लोगों के साथ ऐसा that you're aligning few content up and then you realize, oh, ये तो align हो ही नहीं रहा है, and then you think, okay, let's forget this, then let's forget this and let's stick to जो भी अभी हो रहा है. Right? The reason is that a lot of people know how to write CSS, but they don't know what are all the other options available in the CSS. And once you actually understand the whole dynamic of how HTML and CSS is completely working, that is when you actually become a UI developer. That's when you design beautiful UIs. I'm not talking about the UX, but UI definitely. Then we'll be going to the third vertical, which is going to be Bootstrap. And Bootstrap is going to just do everything so easily. We'll also be learning Bootstrap as a framework that we'll be doing of. Now, these three things will help you create UI, just UI. I'm only talking about the UI part. This will help you create UI, and that's what we'll be focusing on for a week, that how to create UI, beautiful UIs, and that's what we'll be making. We'll be creating a lot of clones like Netflix clone, or any YouTube clone, or whatever you want to make, you'll be able to make that off. Okay. So we'll be looking into these three technologies for a week: HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Then comes the king of everything, which is called as JavaScript. I'm not pretty sure how many of you know how to write JavaScript or might have worked on JavaScript, but this vertical of web development is really, really, really important. And JavaScript is one of the languages which gives you the way of writing UX. What's the difference between UI and UX? UI is something that you see. Harshita, try and understand. You're seeing something right on a screen. UX is how how you're interacting with the whole application. Like, what will happen when I click this button? What are the animations that are come? Not exactly animations, but how easily you are able to now. Okay, let me give you an example. You might have used two applications, Ola and Uber, right? You have used both the apps, Ola and Uber. Now, if I talk about the UX part, yeah, it's recording already, so don't worry about it. Yeah, so if you talk about Uber and Ola, which application do you actually prefer? Which application do you prefer? And 90% of the people are going to say Uber as compared to that of Ola. Guys, yeah, definitely. As I said, Uber. The reason Uber has a greater advantage over Ola, because the user experience is beautiful in Uber. The whole working principle between both the applications is pretty much the same. They book cabs for you, nothing hard and fast. But Uber basically is very, very user friendly. The whole experience of using the whole Uber application is way better looking and way better feeling as compared to that of Uber. So this is what UX or UI is. Not even cheaper, though the price is pretty much same. The price of Ola basically fluctuates a lot as compared to that of Uber. Uber's price doesn't fluctuate, it's pretty much the same all the time. Okay, so yeah, coming back. So JavaScript is one of the important part wherein you will be able to create UX now. Now, JavaScript basically gives you a lot of functions, a lot of methods, a lot of ways of creating that. What will happen when I click the button? What will happen if I hover over onto this button? What will happen if the user is going to scroll up? What will happen? You can just think about a lot of possibilities and you can go ahead and design. JavaScript also helps you connect to a lot of different networks, a third party APIs. Maybe you want to integrate third party APIs, gather data from a server. A lot of things could be done, right? And then comes a very beautiful thing called as Ajax. And using Ajax or Fetch or Axios, you can actually integrate APIs. Now, I'm not going to go too much inside APIs, but if you'd be interested at the end of the session, I'm just going to give you a little heads up at what APIs are and how you can integrate APIs into your application and create actually a full-fledged full stack application, even if you don't have a backend. So we'll talk about that. Okay. So you can use Ajax for API integrations. Okay. And then comes the more important part. The more important part is the frameworks. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people know about these frameworks, or if not know about the framework, but actually might have heard about these frameworks. What are these frameworks? Axios we use in React.js. You can use Axios anywhere, Suraj. It's not like it's only designated to React or anything. You can use it anywhere. Google Maps API or YouTube APIs or Zomato APIs, or you can use anything. Axios, yeah, it's Axios. So when we talk about the framework, there are three very major frameworks. Yeah, three major frameworks. One is, what is API? We'll talk about it at the end of the session. Right now, it's just gonna waste time. Okay. One is your React. Yeah, exactly. One is your React. The another one is your Angular. The third one is Vue.js. Now, these things or these frameworks basically helps you create something which is called as single paged applications. Single paged applications. Now, what are these single paged applications? I'm not going to go too much inside it. Of course, it's going to waste a lot of time, but keep in mind, these applications that you create do not reload every time you click or every time you try to do something of a functionality in the application. Everything happens. Yeah, it doesn't refreshes. The page doesn't refresh. Everything happens on the browser side itself. You don't have to make calls to the backend all the time for doing basic stuff. So that is what your single page application basically do. And these three are just booming the market like anything right now, like anything. These frameworks are basically maintained by various companies. For example, React is basically managed by Facebook. Angular is managed by Google. And Vue.js is basically managed by nobody, but it's an open community, right? And all the developers are the one who just bring new changes and new versions to the framework. Okay. API is a way wherein even if you don't have a backend, you can integrate data into your application. We'll talk about it at the end. And I will also will be showing you a few applications which has their APIs integrated, and you can just see it will just look beautiful. Node.js basically comes in the backend. It's not a front end part, it's a backend part. So if you're interested, we can talk a little bit about backend, shall we? Shall we discuss on the backend a little bit so that you get a clear idea of like what's there? Sure. Let's do that. Now, when you talk about the backend part, the backend is actually very, very crucial for any application that you'll be building throughout. No matter how small the application is, no matter how big the application is, a good application will always have its backend. When you talk about backend is basically more inclined toward what technology you are most comfortable with, because the backend is not something that it only has few set of technologies, like for example HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. Your front end part is pretty much inclined, but when you talk about the backend, what is Sas and less? Sas and less is basically a way of styling stuff. It's a cousin of, you could say, CSS. So a more, even Tailwind is one, Devilina. So yeah, Tailwind. It's not a preprocessor. Rather, Bootstrap uses Sas behind the scene. Yeah, it's a software as a service. Your Bootstrap uses Sas behind the scenes. So we'll talk about when we'll be doing Bootstrap. Then you'll realize, oh, this is how Sas is getting used. Yeah, yeah. No. SaaS wo nahi. SaaS, it's not like SaaS, software as a service. SaaS is a technology. It's a technology. No, guys. CS, just like CSS, there is another technology called as SaaS. Yeah, SaaS and SAS is different. SaaS is different. Exactly. So SaaS is basically a styling framework or a styling technology that you can use. It's somewhat related to CSS, and even Bootstrap uses SaaS behind the scenes. So we'll talk about that when we'll be doing Bootstrap. Okay, so don't worry about it. Shall we discuss on with backend part? Shall we? Yeah, sure. Now, when you talk about the backend perspective, backend is basically more inclined towards, no, not exactly, but backend is more inclined towards that what technology are you most comfortable with. Now, a lot of people are comfortable with Java, few people are comfortable with Python, few people are comfortable with JavaScript, few people are comfortable with some other technology stack. So in that case, yeah, just a little second. So in that case, you can have multiple backends. In these backends, you just need to just be very particular what kind of language you want to be working on. If you can go onto either JavaScript side, you can either go to Python side, you can go to Java side, you can even go to some other technology, even .NET you can go ahead and use .NET, right? And few other things as well. Yeah, it's definitely useful for you in Jazz. Now, when you talk about JavaScript related is going to be something which is called as Node.js and Express.js. So you can create your backend using Node.js and Express.js. These are the technology which is based on JavaScript, right? Similarly, you have on the go of Python, you have something of a technology which is called as, can someone tell me Python related? Yeah, you can use anything. No, Django is for front end. So you can use something which is called as Flask. So Flask, no, not Django, Flask. So for backend, if you want to create, you can use Flask if you're very interested in Python, right? Yeah, but without using Express, you cannot create backends. So that's like important. It's a middleware. It's just a middleware, just like Tunk or any other middleware, or Logger middleware or any other middleware. When you talk about Java, there are two technologies which you can use. That PHP is basically a more of a database related thing. It's not something to relate with backend. But you can use PHP for creating your backends, but now it's pretty much deprecated. So when you talk about Java, there is a technology which is called as Spring and Spring Boot. Have you ever heard about Spring and Spring Boot? Anyone? Spring Boot, and Hibernate? So you can use these three technologies and you can create your backend just by using Java. And at the end of the session, I'll be showing you all these backends and how the code looks like and what do we have as a similarity and stuff like that. But at the end of the session, right? And for .NET, you can be using something which is called as, Beans. I'm not pretty sure if you might have heard about it, but you can use Beans. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So this way you can create your backend. Now, one thing you need to be very, very sure of, you can create your front end on any technology or any framework, and you can create your backend on any technology stack or any framework, no matter what. MVP you can use, you can even use Beans. There are a lot of middlewares, a lot of frameworks. You can use anything that you want. Okay. We can create any project. We'll just take on to one project and try to clone that application back just by using HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Okay, so that is what we'll do. Okay, just a little touch of our own self. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind, guys, that you can use any framework in the front end, any framework in the front end. Similarly, you can use any technology in the back end, and any front end and any back end are pretty much can be integrated just like this. So what happens, what is a full stack? That I'll just explain it to you. So what do you have? You have a application, a front end application. Now this front end application could be on anything. It could be React, it could be Angular, it could be Vue, it could be anything, or just HTML or CSS. Then what you'll be having, you will have a backend. This backend is going to manage everything for you. Okay. So this is a backend, maybe anything related. We'll talk about frameworks. Then what happens, this backend is connected to a database. Now you can use any database, maybe a relational database just like SQL or MySQL or SQLite or maybe PostgreSQL. You can use anything. So there is a database attached to this. So when you create a backend, a server, or I should rather call this server, if you create a backend or a server and connect it to a database, now this database, as I said, it could be a relational database or NoSQL database, just like MongoDB or anything. Yeah, any database that could be a SQL database or a NoSQL database. NoSQL, maybe like MongoDB or something like that. When you integrate both of these things together basically makes up your front end. No, sorry, your backend. This is your full-fledged backend. And what happens is that when you create the front end, on the front end, you make requests to your backend for the data. And then the whole backend processes your request and sends you back with the response. Just like this. And then what happens is that everything gets combined. And this is what you call this as something which is called as a full stack application. So a full stack is going to contain front end, it's going to contain a back end, and there is going to be a communication between or an integration between front end and back end. Yeah, we will be most probably will be taking on with something which is called as Netflix, either Netflix or YouTube, any of the one. Okay, yeah. So which one is more convenient? No, so okay. If you're expecting that I'll take a site for one of the frameworks, I'll not. The reason is I've worked on all the three frameworks and all the three frameworks are good at their job. pretty much good at their job. If you talk about Angular, Angular is good, like really good, but only for huge, big applications or enterprise applications that you will be creating. Angular pretty much contains everything, starting from routing to directives to custom directives, your data handling, data binding, two-way binding, everything it contains out of the box, even pipes it contains. So Angular is basically used at the time when you want to create big applications. React, on the other hand, is very easy to learn, right? Because it's completely based on JavaScript. React is basically used more, but if you talk about the job perspective, the salary as for a React developer is not as much as that of the Angular developer. Though the requirement for the Angular developers are very limited, there are not as much as job opportunities as that of React. But once you get the job opportunity, you will start with a way better wage as that of the React developer. So that way. So, but to learn Angular, it's required more time. Yeah, more time, more efforts, more brain. I'll say the learning curve for React or for Angular is greater as compared to that of React. But no, it's who said that? No, both the applications, Angular and React, they're managed by multinational companies. So how can you say that it's not stable? It's stable like anything. Both the frameworks are very, very, very stable. Okay. Yeah, sure. Sure, you can. Of course, Mukesh, rather, we are already recording this. We'll share you out with the LMS. I'm pretty sure you might have joined a little late, but again, at the end of the session, I'll give you a little heads up on LMS. Don't worry, you'll get the recordings of the session anyways. Okay, guys? So this way, you can go ahead and create front end, back end, and everything. And you can create a full stack application out of it. People don't use Vue much, but you can, of course, can go ahead and have a look at how Vue works, and you can, of course, you can navigate and switch between these frameworks. These frameworks is completely up to you, like what do you want to do and what kind of applications you want to build. But if you're talking about stability, all the three frameworks, the reason they are booming in the industry is because the industries are using it. If you talk about Mercedes, McDonald's, all these big enterprise applications, even Google itself is basically made out of Angular. So it's not like Angular is less stable or anything. Okay. Which backend is easy to learn. Node.js Express is very, very easy to learn. Okay. So that way you can just use like it out of the box. What is Bootstrap? As I said, Bootstrap again is a styling framework. You can use framework and you cannot just write CSS, but even using CSS, you can style it just by writing few lines of code, not even code, I'll say, just writing few words. You can style your elements and we'll talk about it. Bootstrap is a part that we'll be learning. It's not a built-in CSS and parallel universe, but yeah, you can talk about them from styling perspective, definitely. Cool. Difference between UI and UX. I just explained you. UI is basically how everything is aligned in the application, and user experience is basically how smooth the functionalities is going to be working. Bootstrap is copy paste. Not exactly, I'll say. Bootstrap is more of learn this and learn that kind of like thing. In the span of 5 days, we'll be learning HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, and we'll be creating UIs out of it. Okay, we'll just be learning how to create beautiful UIs. That's what will be the case. Okay. What is the function of a server? A server basically just manages all the requests coming in. Okay, for example, the way I just said, that request will be done. Yeah, of course, it's visible to enable. Of course, why won't it be? So server is basically, again, it just looks into the request that is made from the front end. So server basically just takes care of what request is coming in. So that way we have to create a server to manage these requests. Okay, so that way. Yeah, it's an open source CSS framework. So what if I choose Python for the backend, then how should I start it from? Of course, do nothing. Just learn any front-end framework and just learn how to work on Flask. So the data science course that we have, we even tell them the application development part also, which basically I take care of. So yeah, in that case, we also teach them how to work on Flask and Django. So yeah, expected time to become a front-end developer if I give 2 hours every day to it. Good question. If you're only talking about the front end, including frameworks or just not using frameworks, you're talking Kushagra. If you're including framework, including React, I'll say if you actually want to be like go deep into it, 3 months, at least 3 months, you'll be using for it. Bootstrap is used for styling. I told you already. You can use Django as well. Of course you can. Okay, you definitely can. Fast job opportunity. Learn and create projects. That's the best thing, Preeti, that I can tell you. Create as many projects as you can and don't stop learning. The moment, the day you'll stop learning is the day when you will be a little more far ahead from, just build projects. That's it. Learn and build projects. That's it. What are frameworks? Frameworks is a thing which makes your job easier. Okay, when you'll be learning frameworks and when you'll be learning JavaScript, doing everything from just bare hands using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript basically becomes a lot more tedious. So frameworks are there to come into picture and they make developers' life easy. Okay. Yeah, you can learn Spring and Spring Boot. That's fine. If you know how to work on array lists, linked lists, stacks, queues, or any Java related framework, or your framework architecture, for example, your sets, hash map, linked hash maps, all these things, you can use it. Yeah, you can do that. Guys, easy. So what is the opinion about AI? We'll talk about opinions and all these things at the end of the session. I just want to start off with the course so that we are on the same page. We'll talk about that. Sir, aren't we going to learn backend in the workshop? No, we're just going to, backend takes a lot of things, guys. Vaibhav, it's not like backend is something that, it's going to be just like, hey, okay, I just created up this backend. No, there goes a lot of thinking, a lot of thought process when you're creating a backend. A backend is just not like something of a cakewalk that, okay, let's go ahead and create backend. Backend actually takes a lot. I'll share you with for JS and React. I'll definitely share it out with you. Ajax is a way of integrating APIs. As I said, if you have any APIs, if you're creating any backend, you can merge that backend or integrate that backend into your front end using Ajax. So Ajax is a communication portal that you can use. Okay, so that way. Any difference between Angular, React, and any other? I highly will recommend you start if you're scared of learning, start with React. And if you're pretty okay for learning and you want to get the best out of anything, start with Angular. Okay, so if you're not scared of learning, if you're not scared of studying, start with Angular. Else you can start it off with React. That is completely fine. I'll just explain it to you in a minute. Just in a little bit. It's sufficient for placements. Guys, one more thing. It's a good question actually. When you talk about front end or when you talk about back end, you'll find a lot of people saying, hey, I am a front end developer, right? You'll also find a lot of people just saying, hey, I am a back end developer. So it's not like that you cannot get jobs out of just by learning any of the one vertical of the full stack development. It's not like that. You can just learn front end development thoroughly throughout by heart. You can just, create beautiful applications out of the blue. Welcome to the world. You will be just, you can just apply for something which is called as a front end developer. Similar on the other way around, backend developer also. If you know how to create beautiful backends, manage databases, manage data, manage states, you can go ahead and call yourself backend developer and get a job as a backend developer. That's not like, okay, you have to learn both the verticals, but both the verticals, if you're becoming a full stack developer, in that case, you're going to earn a lot of money. I am not joking around with you people. Having a person having around 2.5 years of a full stack developer experience, he can earn money around 11 to 12 LPA, lakhs per annum. And I'm not joking with it. Okay. So that is something that you can do. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And Kushagra, you are completely right with it. For the people who think that JavaScript is somehow related to Java or anything, trust me, it's not. JavaScript is very, very easy, and at the same time, it's very, very confusing as well. If you go into in depth, like for example, async, await, and all these things, or it becomes confusing for a lot of people. I don't know why it becomes confusing. Callbacks, promises, handshakes. There are a lot of different parts of JavaScript which confuses a lot of people. For the people who might have done JavaScript for a little while, they'll be understanding what I'm talking about. So yeah, those are completely two different languages though. No, it's not a part of backend. No. Hyperlinks, no, we don't do it anymore. because we create single page applications now. How about Java Mail? You can use it. Up to you. What is the most latest framework in PHP? Uh, Preeti, this question hurt me, but never mind. I'll answer it anyways. First thing first, PHP is deprecated now. Nobody in the industry is using PHP. I don't know, except for Facebook. Even Facebook is migrating to Node.js now. So yeah, you can use PHP, but it's getting out of the blue now. It's getting out of the way. It's not used by industry people anymore. PHP is very delicate. It's like it could like crash anytime you want. Okay, and you have to do a lot of maintenance when it comes to PHP. So a lot of people don't work on PHP. And if you're thinking about to learn PHP, people, I highly will recommend you don't. The reason is there are not much jobs in PHP, and also a lot of companies don't use PHP anymore. So please, I'll highly will recommend that don't waste your time in learning PHP. Rather learn something comparatively new, a framework maybe, a Node.js or Express.js framework maybe. Up to you, okay? But back end, the doors are all open. You can use whatever you want. No, those are different things. Creating UI and creating UX are two different parts of the application. All right, guys. So shall we start off with the course? If you're interested, we can start off. Any of the other doubts that we'll be having, the basic common doubts, we'll talk about the suggestions, what is good, what is bad, what is to be done at the end of the session. But let's start off with the course. JavaScript, definitely. Okay, sure. And please don't call me sir. I'm no sir. I'm nobody. Just call me Arun. I'll highly will recommend that. Please. Okay, just call me Arun. No sir, nothing. Okay. Is most difficult to learn. Actually, Spring and Spring Boot is most difficult to learn because there is you have to build everything from scratch. So that becomes like a lot more, cluttered sometimes. Okay, so yeah, Node.js Express is most easiest to learn. You can learn it and you can create and deploy it like okay. Sure. So shall we start off? Start kare? Let's start. Shall we? All right. So I'm going to start from the bare minimum part. We'll start off from HTML and we'll slowly grow and progress. But I highly will recommend listen to me carefully, and whatever things that we'll be designing or creating, you just have to wait for a while, understand the concepts. Once you understand the concepts, becomes easy. Shri Ganesh karte hain, na? Just like Ashutosh said, let's do the Shri Ganesh. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much technical. I'll keep it very simple, very, very easy. Okay. Okay. Just want to know how many of you have never worked on CMD? Just want to know, like no idea how to work on CMD. Okay. Never mind. All right. Never mind. Now, what I simply will do, yes, okay. I'm just gonna create a very basic folder in the desktop, and I'm just gonna call this FSD workshop. Let's say you can call it whatever you want to. The name of the folder is completely up to you. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write code. I'm gonna create files and write code inside it. Now, in order for me to write code, I would be needing something which is called as text edit. It's exactly like writing Word document. And for writing Word document, what do you need? You would be needing an application which create Word document for you. Maybe a Microsoft Word, maybe Notepad, maybe WordPad, or maybe Notepad++ or anything that you want, right? The text editor that I will be using is going to be Visual Studio Code. Okay, you can use any text editor that you want. You can use any text editor that you want. All right. The text editor part is completely up to you. You can use whatever you want to, but I'll be using VS Code. If you don't like VS Code, maybe you like any other thing, maybe Atom, Sublime, you can use whatever you want to. Even Notepad will work. Okay. Notepad will work. There is something which is called as text track also. So yeah, you can use whatever you want to. Like it's no hard and fast compulsion that if I'm using VS Code, you also need to use VS Code, but you can use anything. Even Notepad++ will work. So if you need Visual Studio Code, it's free. It's pretty much actually free. You can you can use this or you can download it for free. Just go to Google and just write Visual Studio Code, download. And it's a part of Microsoft. So it's an application given to you by Microsoft. You can just go down here, select whatever operating system that you want, and it will just give you the text editor. You can use this text editor anywhere, okay? It's not like only for web development, but it's generally used for web development. Depending upon what system you are, you can go ahead and download that, okay? Anybody here who's working on Mac, by the way, if you're working on Mac, there are a few things you need to keep. Anyone here is working on Mac or maybe anything? Anyone who's working on Mac? Okay, fine, perfect. So but it's gonna be a file. Just go ahead and install it. Okay, just like that. All right, guys. So this is what we have, right? Just go ahead and install that and start using it. As simple as that. Okay. So this way. So yeah, I'll be using VS Code. You can definitely do that. You definitely need to do that. Okay, please excuse me. Oh, by the way, this is React. This is how React looks like for the people who are interested in React. So yeah, this is how React looks like. It's kind of lengthy. It's kind of like sometimes gets complicated or stuff. But yeah, this is how React looks like. But yeah, don't get scared or anything. But yeah, you can learn. It's very easy. It's not like you can't do it. You definitely can do it, but the point is you have to learn. You have to just devote time. If you can devote time, you can learn anything. Now out here, as you'll see, I've opened up the folder, the FSD workshop folder, and out here I don't have any files. Okay, no files have been created as of now. Now what we'll do, we'll create files, right? And the very first file that every application should have is called as the HTML file. Right? The HTML is what we'll be creating. Can you also explain how the concept of VS Code with Git? Hey, version control you're talking about, Akshay? Version control, I won't be able to. The reason is it takes a lot of time. I'll have to take a whole hour to explain you Git. Okay, so please that way. Oh, Aryan, why did you say index.html? Why did you say index.html? I can keep it whatever I want to. Okay, so it's not like just index.html, but yeah, that way. So shall we start, guys? Shall we start? Start correct. Now, as Akshay said, the name, sometimes you will find a lot of developers writing index.html, and it's important. I'll say it's important, but only at the time when you're deploying it. All right, I'll explain it to you in a little bit. So no, it doesn't help in SEO, but it just helps in deploying. That's it. When you make it live to the whole world, that is where it becomes important. All right. So let's go ahead and create a basic file out here. You can name it whatever you want to. Let's say I'm just going to call this home.html. Let's say you can keep it whatever you want to. I'll definitely will. Okay. You can text me up on LinkedIn. We can talk about it. So we have created up a file, home.html, and as you'll see, this is just a bare minimum HTML file. Now, one thing, this is important to understand. Are you ready? Is everyone paying attention? Everyone is paying attention. Please see this and please try to understand this. This is where you will get an ability or you'll get an idea how these modern web applications work. Okay, let me actually go to Chrome. Right. So I have Google Chrome. You can use any web browser that you want. Safari will also work. That's fine. But yeah, let's start doing this. Let's say what I do. Just write hello. Welcome to the workshop. All right. I didn't do anything. Okay. Just please keep that in mind. I didn't do anything. I just created a file, just like the file that you create, maybe just a sample.txt file or sample.docs file or any file for that matter. And I'm just keeping the extension has to be .html at the end. The way you create .pdf, .txt, .docs or anything, I'm just creating a home.html and I didn't do anything. I'm just writing content inside it, like nothing just content, nothing else. Now, there is something which is called, okay, how many of you are very new to VS Code, by the way? How many of you are seeing VS Code for the very first time? Okay. All right. It's fine. If you're watching VS Code for the very first time, in VS Code, you have a lot of different things out here. Now, I'm not gonna go into each and everything. Might be a situation when you install it for the very first time, you're not gonna see all the three of the part like MongoDB or Docker or Thundercline. You're only going to see these 4 or 5 parts, right? One is for searching files. One is for the source control or the Git control, and then you have run and debug, and then you have remote explorer, and then you have something which is called as extensions. Everyone can see this extensions. These are exact same extensions that you use in Chrome. Have you seen extensions in Chrome? It's exactly the same way, right? So if you click on extensions, there are going to be a lot of already on built extensions. I've installed a few, but you can search your extensions and you can install these extensions. There is yeah, exactly. So there is an extension which is called as a live server extension. So live server basically launches live server for yourself. You now, I already have it installed, so it gives me an option to uninstall, but you can go ahead and install this. Now, why am I making you install live server as an extension? I'll show you the reason why. All right. Now, once you're done, or once you have installed extensions, the live server extension, you can save your file and you can right click on any HTML file and you'll get an option saying open with live server. If I click on the thing, what will happen? It will open the whole thing in live server, right? So I'm just gonna cut this out from here and I'm just gonna close this tab. And what will I simply do? I'll paste it in the Google Chrome, all right? So just like this, right? Just like this, we created a file, right? And we wrote something in the file and you'd see that it's getting printed off. Now, what does basically live server do? If I make any changes and save the file, you don't need to reload it every time. So it's a hello, welcome to the workshop. Hope you are enjoying it. Hope you are enjoying it. And once you have not saved the file, I'll explain it to you once more. Just give me 1 second. If you haven't saved the file, you're going to see this white dot and just right next to your the name of the file. You're just going to see a white dot. The moment you save it, the dot will be gone. And here you're going to see you do not need to refresh it. Live is not possible without body and head tag. Don't worry about it. Okay, so this is how it works, and it just basically serves your application just like a server. Now, there was an error down there which said, hey, something is missing and I cannot reload it for you by default. Now, I was about to explain it. So what happens is that in VS Code, you have a tab which is called as extensions. You can download and install your own extensions. Just go to extensions, search for live server and install this extension. Okay, just install the extension. Once you install the extension, you will have a way of to serve your application. So when you right click on it, you will get an option saying open with live server. And the moment you open it with live server, you will get a URL for your whole HTML file that you've created. Okay, so that is how we create. Got it? Chakshu, Nandini, make sense? Does this make sense? Avinash, I'll come to tags in a little while, but Abhi, just try to understand this. This is important. This part, which I'm about to explain, a lot of people don't know about it, even for the people who call themselves web developer, but they actually don't know about this. We'll talk about it in a little while. Now, why the port is 5500 instead of 8080? Who told you that everything is going to use port 8080? You are coming from, I think you're coming from Spring or Spring Boot background, are you? Huh? You're coming from Spring and Spring Boot background? I thought it so. It's a designated port, by the way. We can change the port, but we are not going to go about in that way. I'll explain it to you at the end of the session. Please remind me, I'll explain it to you. You can even change the port to localhost 5500 to something else. Okay, up to you. Where is the store of this extension? Oh, here, this tab, this particular tab, the extensions tab. Just go here and search whatever you want to, and you'll get the extensions. Okay. Is this process in Visual Studio Code? You can use it anywhere. Even it's available in Atom also. how to create a folder, please again. Here is files. When you click on here in the Explorer, you will get few options. File, creating a file. You can even create a folder. As you'll see, it created a folder. You just need to name it. You can even create files. So if you click on the first part, it will give you an option to create files. You can name that file whatever you want to. And you can even reload the whole stuff, right? If you're creating files and stuff like that, you can even reload it. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, what's the need of reload? Come to React and any frameworks, you'll get an idea. Okay, so yeah. No, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't have like, if you don't want to install live server, you can simply go to that folder, and whatever HTML file that you have created, you can even ask it to open with, let's say, Safari. Okay, and it will open automatically. Okay, so it's not like that you need live server, but I'm using it, so I just gave you a way wherein you can go ahead and create those. Yeah, so you can choose themes and all that, but yeah, it's completely up to you. You can use whatever extensions that you want. All right, guys, so shall we start? We are getting distracted all the time. Shall we start? You ready? Sure. Now, one thing which I want to explain it to you, the very important part, it's this, that as you see, just like a text document, nothing else, just like a text document. Yeah, of course, Akshay, of course you can. A lot of people does that, but never mind. Okay, so we have this text here, right? Just like normal text. If I write more text, so let's say I'll just come down here. I'm just going to close this for a while. I'm just going to come down here. This is, let's say, more text, just like a text document. If I save this and reload the page, you'll see the text gets aligned off, right? Everyone is able to see that it's kind of like a text document. Whatever I'm writing, I'm getting as an output. Guys, yeah, I didn't do anything. I can't see your screen. Everyone is able to see the screen, both the screens, parallel screens, the text editor and the Google Chrome screen. Please check your connections and everything, okay? Yeah. So this way, as you'll see down here, whatever I'm writing gets displayed out here. But this is not actually how HTML works. So in Chrome, I don't know how many of you know about it or not. I know that a lot of people would know about it. So in Chrome, if you click on these three dots, go to More Tools, and go to Developers tool, you are able to inspect that what HTML is getting written down. And it's not only for a particular website or something. Even you can go to Google and inspect the page, right? Go to More Tools and go to Developers tool, right? Down here, if you go to Elements, you can expect everything which is there. And you can click on this button and select onto one thing, and you'll get the exact code of what is written down there. Right? So it's not only for one thing. It's Google Chrome. This is Google Chrome, and I'm writing text in VS Code. And the right hand side that you can see, Chrome. No, you can use Control-Shift-I. If you're working on Windows, use Control-Shift-I. You'll be able to inspect it. And if you're working on Mac, go to Command Option I. You will be able to get it. Okay. So you can inspect whatever element that you want to, even, and let me actually show you a cool thing. Do you want to have a look on a cool thing? Do you want to have a look? Just in case if you're interested, for the people who are coming here for the very first time, like let's see that. So let's say we inspect this page, this part, and out here you're going to see a input type, right? In that input type, if you'll see, the value is Google search. You can change the value to, let's say, Arun search. And it changes. So you can fool around with your friends also by saying, hey, maine to Google pe padha tha. And you can change the Google part in pretty much anyhow that you want, right? And even the search spelling, I think, is wrong. So yeah, thanks to that. Never mind. So you can use it pretty much however that you want to. Okay. I've done this a lot actually with my friends though, but yeah. So I'll explain it to you. You can click on this button, which basically gives you a way to inspect something. So if let's say I'm inspecting this part, let's say I'm lucky part. So if I click out here, and if you know how to work on HTML, you're going to see a value here which says I'm feeling lucky. Let's say I want to change it. I can double click on it and I'm just going to say I am not feeling lucky and press enter. So I'm not feeling lucky anymore. Okay, so this way you can change the content even for the Google and be like, hey, ऐसा तो Google ने बोला, even though you wanna just right in front of your people or maybe in front of your friends. Anyways, so yeah, you can inspect the page, change anything, change layout, change styles, change content, change a lot of different things. But yeah, the whole point is I just wanted to explain you that there is something which is called as the developer option or the inspect option that you can use in Chrome. Yeah, no, of course not. The moment you reload the page, it will come back to its original position. So it's not like that it's gonna stay. No. It's not gonna stay. You'll have to write code for it though. But yeah, so this way, the moment you reload your page, it's gone though. Okay, never mind though. So coming back, so let's inspect our page. Let's inspect the elements down here. So, sir, how you created home.html? Please explain. Okay, पहले तो sir मत बोलो यार, please. I hate this word. I don't know why I hate this word. Yeah, it's kind of like a temporary satisfaction. Deep sign, very temporary satisfaction, very temporary satisfaction. But yeah, never mind. So here you can create your own files. Let's say I'm just gonna call this. I'll just click on this button. So this is a button how you can create files. Okay now. So you can create Saurabh. I hope you're listening to me. So click on this file and just call it second.html and just press enter. Okay, the moment you press enter, the file will be created, but I don't want to create that file. Got it now? Saurabh, make sense? Does this make sense? Or how I created the file? All good? Chalo, guys, now come back. Coming back, if I inspect the page, how we upload them, and we'll talk about it at the end of the session. Guys, come back. Don't go on to a different stream. Understand here. How to run HTML code. If you have the code in the folder, just right click on it, open with Google Chrome. Just like this, you will be able to run the HTML code. Okay, Shiva? Makes sense? Yo, man. We are on the same page. Guys, now one thing to focus down here. As you will see, everybody is here. Everyone is listening to me. Everybody is listening. Just a quick yes, and then we'll start off. This is important. Please, this is really important. See, now even if you're writing text here, and if you try to inspect the page, you're going to see some weird looking text around the whole application that you created. There is some weird looking HTML. There is some weird looking head, weird looking body, and then there is some weird looking HTML again. What is this? We have no idea. But this is getting down there. Like we have literally no idea what's going on. I didn't write it in my HTML, but this is getting displayed. This is how the content is getting aligned. This is how the content is getting rendered in the Google Chrome page. In this case, something is going fishy, which we don't actually know. What is going on? Let's talk about that. I hope that the problem statement makes sense, that we didn't write this HTML, we didn't write this head, we didn't write this body. Where is this coming from? We don't know. We are just writing content, and these weird looking tags are getting along the code that I'm writing. I hope this makes sense, right? I hope this makes sense. So where is this coming from? No idea, but we'll have an idea in a little while. Now, when you are creating any HTML, whenever you're creating any HTML, you have to have certain sections, certain segments in the application. In your application, there are 3 very important segments, which your Google Chrome just told you that there are 3 very important sections or segments in any HTML document. What are those segments? First segment is called as the HTML segment. HTML segment is the segment wherein you will contain all your HTML code. Then inside this HTML comes in something which is called as a head segment. In this head segment comes in, and I'll explain you why are we using this and what's the utility. Inside the HTML, there comes another segment which is called as the body segment. Okay. So one HTML segment contains 2 different segments. the head segment and the body segment. The head segment basically contains metadata. Anyone who has any idea on meta? Okay, let's take it this way. How many of you have no idea what metadata is? Just give me a no. Who is listening metadata for the very first time? Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay, I'll just explain it in a very simple layman term. Okay. Okay, let's say my roll number is 10. Yeah, I know few people know, but few people don't. Let's say my roll number is 10. 10 is what? A number or a string. It's an integer type value or maybe a number type value. Yes? Guys, yes? Similarly, if you talk about a name could be a number or it could be a string. What will it be? It will be a string, right? Now, a name is a data. A name or a roll number is a data. Integer is the metadata for the number or for the roll number. Metadata means information about a data, or sometimes people call it the data related to a data. Any data which explains your data is called as metadata. Okay. Similarly, out here in the HTML, the head segment of the document explains the metadata or the meta or the information about the content. All right. So this is how we use it. There is a metadata which gives you information about the content that you're about to write in the body segment. What does body segment contain then? Body segment is the important part wherein you contain all your content. Whatever content that you want to contain inside your website, it will be gone inside the body tag. Got it? Yeah. So just like here, as you'll see, whatever content I wrote before, this was getting inside the body, right? As you'll see, body and body. If we write multiple body tag, then only, okay, we'll try about that. First of all, we don't do it, okay? But we'll try this, okay? So how does this looks like? You can just right click on it and just say open it with live server, just like that. Okay, Shaman, go to your extensions, install live server first. Once you install that live server, go back to the file explorer, right click on it and open it with live server. Okay, Shaman, cool. Okay, now coming back. Now, just like the Chrome depicts us, the same thing we are also going to do on the same way itself. So what are we going to do? We are now going to write content. Now, before I go ahead and start to talk about content, there is something which is called as comments. Guys, listen to me carefully. There is something which is called as comments. Everyone is listening to me? In coding, there is something called as comments. Comments is something which does not get rendered, which does not get displayed. And you can write the comment or you can make something comment by selecting it and doing control /. And this is how you can create comment. This is how a typical HTML comment looks like. And comment is there in every programming language. Please keep that in mind. Okay. And from programming language, I, again, got one important part here also. Guys, I hope this makes sense. Comments make sense. Now, if you again save this and reload the page, you're not going to see that getting returned down there, right? So please keep that in mind. Your comments are something which does not get rendered onto. Yeah, exactly, something like that. So in Python, you use, hash, right? So that way. In JavaScript, you use // or something like that. Comments is something which does not get executed. It's something which does not get in your document. If you're writing something, write something and save that and refresh it, you'll see that written. But if you actually comment this out just like this and save it, you're not going to see it anymore. If you save this, this will be acted like a comment which will not be outputted. Harshita, makes sense? Everybody makes sense? If you're good till here, just quickly give me a yes, then we'll move ahead and start to discuss few other things. It's saying I cannot serve it live until and unless you don't include tags. If you include tags, then I'll do the like survey. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about that. Now coming back, what is the command for comment selected code? So select the code, press control and forward slash, this wala, forward slash, this slash, control and forward slash. Okay, so it's gonna comment that code out. All right, so I'm just gonna get rid of everything. Now, as we just explained, or rather, let me actually keep it this way. So the way how I explained it to you. So there are 3 segments. You have to create these segments. How? Very, very important. Try to understand them. Here comes the part from the HTML where I should be starting from, something which is called as tags and elements. There are 2 things in HTML which are called as tags and elements. Tags is a opening tag or a closing tag. As you'll see down here, there is 2 kind of tags. A tag which is enclosed in a greater than and smaller than symbol. Okay, this is called as an opening tag. And then you're going to see a less than symbol with a forward slash, the name of the tag, and the greater than symbol. This is called as a closing tag. So whatever you write in HTML should contain a tag. Now, there are a lot of tags, for example, HTML, if I'm just writing HTML. So it will come with an opening tag and it will come with a closing tag. So these are called as tags. When you combine both these things, nahin, koi error nahi dega. Even if you write it this way, or even if you write it this way, HTML, it's like this, it's not gonna give you any error. So it's not case sensitive like any other language. You can use whatever you. Oh yeah, one more thing. Are you scared of somebody making fun of you? How many of you are scared of if somebody makes fun of you? Acha lagta hai kabhi? That if somebody makes fun of you? Doesn't matter. Puneet, it's just a word of saying doesn't matter, but kisi ko acha nahi lagta, right? Never ever say something which will make fun of you. Okay? And specifically, I definitely will make fun of somebody who will say HTML is a programming language. HTML is no programming language. It is not. I'm explaining. I'm just, please keep this in mind. HTML is not a programming language. It's a markup language. Markup means that it's only going to design the documents or websites. That's it. It's not going to make decisions for you. Exactly. That's what I said, Arun. It's not going to make decisions for you. It's if you ask somebody, hey, which one is looking better, he will actually make decisions for you. He's a human. He's going to make decisions. HTML is not going to make any decisions. It's just going to do the markup. Whatever you say to print it, it will print it. But of course, it's not going to do anything exceptional or logical for you. So if you're expecting HTML to do something logical, call it programming language, but people will make fun of you. So please keep that in mind. Okay, specifically me, I'll definitely will judge you and make fun of you. So yeah, please. I hope everybody understood this. Does this make sense? So HTML is no programming language. It's just a markup language. Whatever you'll ask it to mark up, it's just gonna do the markup. As simple as that. Exactly. Anna? So yeah, that way. Cool. All right, so let's start off. Let's start off. So here we will have a tag, opening and a closing tag for HTML. Very first section that every HTML should contain. The next section should be the head section. And then the next section should be the body section. This is the basic markup for any document that you'll be creating. Now, if I save this and reload this, I won't see that error saying, hey, that you do not have anything. Now you'll be doing anything, writing inside body. So I'm just gonna say this is my content, let's say, and save that. You'll see live reloading in action. Okay, so please keep this in mind that every HTML document should have these 3 sections: HTML section, and this HTML section is going to contain 2 more sections inside it. So you could see that before I end the HTML, I'm writing 2 other things as well, which is head and the body. Okay, head is basically going to contain the metadata. Now, what is a metadata? If you'll see down here in the tab, you're going to see a weird looking text down here. The title is not mentioned here. So you can mention your title, which is a metadata related to the same, right? Abhi ruk jao, Bhuvnesh, ruk jao. These people will, so there is a lot of meta that goes in. Kushagra, Bhuvnesh, I'm getting it, but I just don't want to explain it to them right now. The reason is they'll get confused. They'll see a lot of meta and they'll freak out. So I don't want them to freak out. Okay. So yeah, coming back. So if you'll have a look on this head, if you'll look into this head, you can write a title of the document also. Title of the document could be, let's say first page, first page. If you write the title of the page and save this, you'll see the title will now be first page. You can keep the title whatever you want to though. Okay, it's not like it should be first page, or rather I should call it home, because we have named the document as for home. So yeah, let's keep it home. That's gonna make more sense because it's a home page, right? So yeah, I just called it home. You can call it whatever you want. All right. And then there is this body inside which I keep all my content. What about the title logo? That is called as a favicon. We'll talk about favicon, not right now, but when we'll be talking images. Okay, images in HTML. That is when I'll bring favicon into picture, not right now. Okay. Any doubts till now? Everything seems fine. Everybody's feeling pretty comfortable around HTML. I hope so. Everybody's feeling fine. Everybody's on the same page. Sure. Everyone. Perfect. Great. So let's start off then. All right. Let's start off with few things. Now, as you will see, this content is looking ugly, right? And keep in mind, anything that I'll be doing in the HTML, it's going to look ugly by default. So don't expect anything to look beautiful in HTML, because HTML doesn't have any style. For style, you will have to go to CSS, which we'll learn just right after this. So please keep this in mind. Anything that I'll be doing in HTML is going to look horribly, horribly ugly. So please excuse me for that. So let's talk about few tags and few elements which are available for you in HTML. The very first tag which I want to explain you is the heading tag or heading element. Now I'm calling this element, as I just said. If you're using opening and closing tag, in that case, it's going to be called as a tag. This title is a tag, but title opening and closing combined is called as an HTML element. You can name whatever you want to. No, it's not possible because it's not a metadata, right? Okay, let's try this off, right? Let's say I don't want to keep the title down here. I want to keep the title down here. Save this. It will work. It definitely will work, guys. Definitely will work. The point here is when you'll be doing SEO, this will not work. See, guys, point samjho. The whole point here to understand is, are you creating this website for you? Is this website, or anyone create websites for themselves? Do they? No. They create websites for somebody else to look into that website. That is why they're creating and they're putting so much effort. When you will live this application, let's say you are having a company called as xyz.com. When you will host this application on xyz.com, this will not work. Getting the point? Everyone is getting the point? So there is a certain way of doing certain things. It's exactly like saying, hey, I can move forward, but even if I'm moving backward, I'm walking. Getting the point? Okay, yeah, just get the point. I'm moving forward and I'm moving. You have to move forward. But you're saying, hey, even if I'm moving backwards, I can move forward. Ulta chale ho kabhi? Have you walked like in the opposite way? Like not face fronting, but you might have tried when you were younger. You might have definitely tried it. Not face fronting, but back fronting it and then trying to move on a completely opposite direction. I'm definitely sure. If you haven't, you didn't have a good childhood, because I've done that a lot. Right? So it's exactly the same way. There you can do it, but you shouldn't do it. Right? There is a proper way of doing something. Exactly. So yeah, it doesn't goes here, it goes here. Just like, see, try and understand. As I said, the head is going to contain metadata. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Jalebi or gravy. Bilkul. ये तो होना ही है ना? Yeah, it refers to. Oh, you guys know DOM? How many of you know DOM? Not Don, DOM. I'm talking about DOM, DOM. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I have few experienced people also. Nice. Anyways, not be getting into DOM. Guys, coming back. Shall we start now? Shall we start? Shall we start? Shall. Now, down here, as you'll see, I'll just give you a few heading elements. These heading elements basically ranges from H1 to H6. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create H1. In this H1, I'll say heading 1. And simply what I'll do, I'll copy this up and paste it down 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm just going to call this H2. So this is heading 2, and I'm just going to call this 2, right? Then I have heading 3, and this is going to be H3. So there are numbers which goes in from H1 to H6 though. So you can use that. But don't use it. Again, the whole point here is going to be, even I knew that, but the point is, why explain something which you can't explain? You know? The point is, and again, it will not work. 3, 4, let's keep it 5, let's keep it 6. All right. Save that. And you're going to see few certain headings. Everyone is able to see the heading. Heading seems fine. The only difference is going to be the font size. The size of the font is going to be different for different headings. For whatever headings that you're making that down here, it's going to work in this way. And please keep in mind, higher the number of the heading, smaller will be the font size. That means H6 is going to have a smaller font as compared to that of H5. So higher is the number of the heading, the smaller will be the font, the smaller it's going to work. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Now, I'm just going to comment this off. The reason is I just wanted to show you that these are the few headings that you can go ahead and contain. But yeah, I'll explain you one more thing. Okay. Why does it? Okay, I'll explain it to you. So are you ready? Let's answer this, shall we? Shall we answer this? It's a good question. Why does the change happens to the font? Let's talk about it, shall we? And this will be more important, and I'll bring this to your notice at the time when we'll be doing CSS. All right. For that, you have to understand two parts of HTML. When you talk about any element of the HTML, there are two ways how you can use these HTML elements. Okay. So I'm just going to go on to a different sheet though. Sorry for that. All right. So when you talk about an element, any element that you talk about, those elements could help you do a lot of stuff, right? When you talk about any HTML element, when you have an HTML element, those HTML elements could be of two types. Any element could be like a head element or body element or any other element that we'll be figuring it out over the period of time when we'll be doing HTML. So one of the element that you have is called as a block level element. The another type of an element you have is called as an inline element. Now try and understand it. A block level element is going to be just like a H1 that you see, right? Let me actually explain you coming back. You saw me writing something, isn't it? Like before, you saw me writing something, not using head, body, and anything. Let me comment this out for a while, and let's come back down here. So let's comment it till here. Let's comment this, and let's comment the other parts also. Now, again, if I come back, and if I try to write, let's say, hello, my name is Arun, let's say, right? And then I come to the next line. Try and understand it. Try and understand it. Yeah, of course you'll get the certificate, Ajinkya. If I come to the next line, now if I save this and see, you'll see, hey, hello, my name is Arun, right? Then what will happen if I come to the new line and say this is a new line? Can you see that? If I save this, it will come to the same line. Can you see that? Did you see that? No matter what I do, it will not come to the next line. Even if I take multiple gaps and say this is next line for sure, and say that, it will still come to the next line. The reason is this is called as inline. There are a lot of elements, a lot of HTML elements which are inline. Inline means they will come in the same line. All right. So we have to be very, very particular about what kind of elements we are writing and what kind of elements we want. These elements, as I said, it's going to be, yeah, of course you have to. That is like default. Of course you'll have to know. So when you talk about a block level element will execute. So I'm just gonna write it. Will execute and render in the new line. Render in the new line. Please keep that in mind. And an inline element, this will execute, but in the same line. And I'll keep on giving you differences saying, hey, this is a block level element. This is an inline element. Now, again, coming back to the question where we started this off. Somebody asked me, why is this H1 having a certain style? First of all the heading elements that we saw are always going to be a block level element. Always, always. Every heading is going to be a block level element. Let's go ahead and inspect this for a while. If I inspect this, try and understand. If I inspect this, can everyone see a skin colored line over the top and over the bottom? Everyone is able to see that? Guys, is everyone able to see it? When I'm using the inspect and I'm inspecting this heading, you'll see a skin colored line at the top and at the bottom. Any element which will give you this vibe, when you inspect it, you will see a orange colored top and orange colored bottom. Always, always, that is going to be a block level element. Let me actually give you one more block level element that is called as a paragraph. In the paragraph, you can write anything. Let's say I'm just going to write some sample text. All right. And this is the sample text that I've written. Again, if I try to inspect this, you're going to see an orange colored top and an orange colored bottom. Everyone is able to see that? Everyone is able to see that? Guys, and it came to the new line by default. It came to the new line by default. Now, let's say one more thing, which I just want to explain you. The moment you come out of H1 and you try to write the something, let's say something is written just in the same line and save that, no matter what, it will come to the new line. Now you got the reason why? The reason is that this has a section disintegrated, because even at the bottom, it says the moment I'll finish, even if I have something written just right next to me, I'm going to bring it to the new line. Does this make sense to everyone? That what is a block level element? Every block level element will have partition at the top and at the bottom by default. But if you inspect this small little part, this something is wrong, something is written, you'll not find that orange color or skin color top and bottom. Getting the point? Guys, getting the point? But if you inspect this paragraph, you'll see the same thing, because paragraph and your heading is a block level element. So this is how the categorization happens. There are going to be elements which is going to be a block level element. There are going to be few elements which are again going to be inline element, right? So that got an idea about inline and block level element. If you're good till here, quickly give me a yes. We'll move ahead quickly. Quick. Great. In the categorization, the HTML categorization for the elements that you do, there is one more type of element, which is called as self-ending or self-closing element. there are few elements which do not require an opening tag and a closing tag like this. They just need any self-closing tag or self-opening tag. We don't call anything self-opening, but either self-ending or self-closing tag. There is a tag, exactly, there is a tag which is going to look something like this. For example, if you want to draw a horizontal rule or a horizontal line, you can use HR and use it something like this. HR and it closes itself. Not like this, don't write it like this. Don't write it like this, but just write it like this, right? Don't write it like this. It's not self-closing. If something is self-closing, it will execute itself and then close it. Now, if I save this, you're going to see a horizontal line down here, right? Just a horizontal line. These are called as, yeah, you can even call it inti tags. You can call it inti tags, you can call it self-closing tag or self-ending tags, right? You can see that HR is closing itself. Now out here again, okay, now if I ask you, is it a block level element or is it an inline element? Because it's an element, that is for sure. But is it a block level element or is it an inline element? What do you think? What do you think? It's a block level element. Please keep that in mind. Again, if you inspect this, can you see that yellow colored top and bottom? Yeah. Best way to inspect something, whether something is a block level element or an inline element. Make sense? Make sense with this? Okay, na? So that way. I always use HR, but I guess I'm not best practice. Yeah, one more thing. Block level element are the element which are written alongside with them. Like for example, if I'm writing it something like this, I'm saying, hey, my name is Arun, let's say. And then I'm coming to the new line. I'm coming to the new line and saying this is new line and save it. They will still come in the same line. This is inline. Inline means coming in the same line. But if you don't want something to come in the same line, you can create block level elements. For example, heading or example paragraph. You can create them and make them disintegrated coming to the different line. Guys, I want to just explain you one more thing. A hack which can make your content look like a block level element, but they'll not be a block level element. There is a self-ending tag called as BR, right? BR. BR basically do the same thing. BR basically breaks the line. It just breaks the line. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't convert any inline element to a block level element or something like that. It just breaks the line, simply like that. So if I save this, you'll see it will come to the new line. But again, if you inspect them, these are not, as you'll see, these are still not block level elements. Can you see that? Are you able to see it? So this is important to understand that they are not getting converted from inline to block level element. Rather, we are just creating a break. We're just saying, hey, go to the new line. Getting the point? Getting the point? But block level elements by default will bring the new content to the new line. So that is the difference. If you're good till here, just quickly give me a yes in the chat section, and then we'll move ahead and start explaining. Yeah, coming to that, Kushagra. Just give me a second. Okay, all good? All set? Great. What's the difference between P and break? Break just brings something to the new line. Okay, yeah, one more thing. If I ask you, is BR a block level element or an inline element? What will be your answer? Let's say you're sitting in an interview and I ask you, what will be BR? BR will be a block level element or will be an inline element? Now somebody is getting confused. Now I like this. Now I like this. It could not be something like it's not block or it's not inline. Kushagra, what do you say? Is it block level or is it inline? No, self-ending tags could be inline or could be block level. It's not like they cannot be block level or they cannot be inline. Again, if you inspect this BR, guys, the best part is to inspect it. If you look into BR and if you try to inspect, do you see any color? Do you see any color? Simply just keep it simple and straightforward. Do you see any color? The skin color, top and bottom, or something like that? No. So yeah, it's an inline element. Simple as that, right? It's an inline element. But if you inspect HR, which is a self-ending tag, this, as you'll see, this is a block level element. Got the point? Yeah. Yeah, somebody is asking me a good question. Somebody says, hey, even if I write BR like this, it will work. It will definitely work. But it's always a good practice for any developer to write self-ending tags like this. And you'd see I'm always writing it something. And you'll see me even in the future writing me something like this. This is a good practice of writing self-ending tags because the name suggests the self-ending tag, a tag which closes itself. Though both will work, it's not like it will not work. Again, the whole point, title body में क्यों नहीं लिख रहे हैं? This is not how we work, right? It will work, वो काम चला हुआ है, but those will hamper the whole application over the period when it grows. Okay, so keep it a habit of writing self-ending tags like this. Once you're good till here, quickly give me a yes, then we'll move ahead quickly. Quick. Inline, block, and self-ending tags. Make sense to everyone? Perfect. Great. Chalo. Now I'm moving up to a little bit complicated part. Okay. It's not too much complicated, but it's simple, very straightforward. But we'll talk about that. Okay. Sure. So what are we talking about, by the way? We are talking about something which is called as, how can we change those visible? Okay. Oh, so you have to click here. Can you see this? Can you see this? Shinchan, तुम बहुत शरारती हो Shinchan, है ना? So we'll explain that. We'll explain that doc type when we'll be explaining meta. Okay? Most probably tomorrow I'll explain that. Abhi, I don't want to explain it. Shinchan, what's your name? Actual name, like not Shinchan, like what's your actual name? Just wanna know. I'm curious to know. Shinchan, Himawari कैसी है? ठीक है? Is she fine? Himawari? And say hi to Mitzi, by the way. Cool. So we're starting. Shall we keep going on? Chalo, nice. Chalo. All right. So what are we now be discussing of? We will be discussing of something which is called as links. First we'll discuss of with links and images as well in a while. Okay. First we'll cater on to links. You can do it anywhere. Even I don't have Mozilla, but I'll just explain it to you down here. So even if you go to Google, and this is Safari, by the way. So if you inspect the developers tool, so there would be a kind of like an icon, start element selection. So you can click on it and go anywhere you want. Okay, Puneet? Okay? So try to find something like this, kind of like a symbol. Can we get a 5 minutes break? Okay, do one thing, get yourself a 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back and start off. Do you need a 5 minutes break? Do you need a 5 minutes break? Yeah? No? Yes? No? Achha, let's do it this way. I'm not gonna burden you too much for the day. This is the first day. So let's quickly finish links and then we'll just cater on to the doubts part. Will that be fine for everyone? Just links, and we'll start off with images from tomorrow onwards. Okay, I'm not gonna burden you too much in a day. All right, so just one small little thing. Cool, coming back. Now, these links are really important. So please wrap your head around with them. Okay, because throughout the course, throughout the things, we'll be using a lot of links. Okay, when you talk about links, there are 3 types of important links. When you talk about links, there are 3 types of links. Okay, and I'll explain you these links in a little while. All right, one is called as absolute link. The another one is called as relative link. The third one is called as root relative link. all these three links that you're seeing down here, they have their own purpose. They have their own agenda. Okay. Let's say what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a document just like this, but I wanted to give a link to go somewhere, right? So what I do, there is a tag, a linking tag, which is called as anchor tag. If you just write A, this A is an anchor tag. And if you just say anchor, this will create a link for your FYI, for your information, right? So if I create an anchor tag and say, click here to go to Google and save it, you're going to see it's just like a text. It's nothing more than a text. It's just a text. So here I'm introducing you to something which is very, very important, which is called as HTML attributes. There is something called as HTML attributes. What are HTML attributes? HTML attributes are a way to tell any HTML element how to work. It's just a way of telling more information to any element. If you want to pass more information to any element, that is where you will be using attributes. Different elements have different attributes. Different HTML elements will have their different HTML selective attributes. For example, in the anchor tag have a href, hyperreference attribute. And how do you pass this attribute? In the opening tag of anchor, just by giving a space, you have to mention the attribute. Here, the attribute is going to be href. So if you see, your Visual Studio Code just tells it contains a URL or a URL fragment that hyperpoints to. That means here is where we'll give the link. So we'll put an equal sign and double quotes, and we'll just give the URL. And the URL here will be HTTPS, let's say www.google.com. Right? Now, if I save this, now you'll see that it will look like a link. Everyone can see that? And if I click on it, I'll go back to Google. Does this make sense, guys? Does this make sense? How we can use this anchor tag? If you're using anchor tag without attribute, this is no use. So you have to give the href attribute. In this case, the type of the link that you're sharing, this is a link which is already available in the internet. Any link which you're copying directly from the internet and which is going to go to an exact path, this link is called as an absolute link. Got the point? That what is an absolute link? Guys, absolute link makes sense. Any link available in the internet which has a direct known location that where it's going to go. For example, google.com, facebook.com, any link.com, or any link for that matter, those are called as absolute link. Okay, please keep that in mind. Yeah, fully qualified URL is an absolute link. Then you have, something which is called as, the relative link. Relative link is the link, a way wherein you can link pages in your applications. Or let's do one thing. We'll have a look on it tomorrow. That might take a little bit more cautious. So we'll talk about it. There are a lot of different ways of passing relative link. But I hope the absolute link makes sense. If you're good till absolute link, quickly give me a big yes in the chat section, and then I'll answer all your questions. If you'll be having any doubts, I am there for you. Okay? Sure. So let's keep it till here for the day. One more thing. Do you know how to work on GitHub? Do you know how to work on GitHub? No? A little bit? So tomorrow I'll explain you how to work on GitHub as well. And then I will push this code in the GitHub itself. Right? So you'll be able to access the code also. Okay, so that is something that I'll do. Yeah, I'll share it out with you. And one more thing, guys. Yeah, for the people who attended the session a little late, please make sure that you give me I like that. Please make sure if you have any doubts, this is again, I'm sharing it out with you people. You can feel free to, disturb me. I'll not call it disturb. You can ping me anytime you want to, and you can text me anytime you want to. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn. Also, please give us a follow up on the Innomatics page. The reason is we are coming up with a lot of internship in the coming month. So there is going to be a lot of vacancies for the internship. If you're interested, that kind of internship which I'll be handling off. So please make sure you give us a follow so that you stay updated. Okay. Oh, Puneet, thanks for that. So yeah, I'll just have a look on it just after the session. Okay. And yeah, please make sure that you don't feel shy contacting me anytime. You can contact me anytime. I'll be pretty much available for you people. Okay. I just want you guys to learn something out of the session. That's the whole agenda of keeping these workshops. Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you. Makes a lot more sense. Any internship, we are coming up with the internship just in a month. Just in a month, we will be having internships and we'll be doing a lot of work and a lot of projects in the internship. Okay, so that way that will gonna be more productive. Depends. If you'll be working good, would be paid, but you'll have to learn something, right? Yeah. So if you can work, of course, that could also become a paid internship. But the point is, you should know. You should know stuff what you're doing. All right. Yeah, from the concepts point of view, the class is over. If you have any doubts, please feel free to push your doubts, and I'll be more than happy to help. Is it a free internship? Yes, it's a free internship. It will be completely online, and we'll see how the COVID situation goes. If not, we can even keep it offline also. Can I get the material for the class? Of course, we will add you to the Discord. The respective people will get in touch with you and will add you to Discord, and you'll get the Discord access itself. Discord. Yeah, Discord and LMS. That would be done today itself. Okay. Inform me. I won't be able to inform you, Krishna. The reason that is why I said go ahead and follow us on the Innomatics page. I'll also share you with that. Go ahead and give us a follow. The reason is you stay in tune, and you will be getting all the information related to the data science and full stack internship. So there are both the internship, data science internship and full stack internship itself. Whatever you'll be interested in, you can go ahead and take your participation in that. Okay. All right. Any internship opportunity for me? Yeah, of course. Of course. You can go ahead and learn data science or full stack. So in that way, you can have that. Why was the heading only one heading visible? Because I commented the rest of the headings now. If you go to my VS Code, you can learn. See, the point is you can learn. You can take my help. You can learn. So guys, the whole point of keeping this workshop is I want you guys to get placed in a good company. Yeah, I'll have a Discord. You'll see that I commented the rest of the parts out. Okay, so that is why you were not able to see that. And recordings will also be there. Any WhatsApp group we don't have. If you want, we can create it for you. Okay, we'll see that if that could be done. Where we can access the recording videos. The recording videos could be accessed on the LMS. I'll make sure that the respective people reach you out and they will make you a part of the Discord community and the LMS also. So don't worry about that. That would be done. Cybersecurity, we might be coming up. Please stay tuned to the the LinkedIn page of Innomatics. We'll keep you updated. Please create WhatsApp groups. For sure. We'll talk about to the management and if that could be done, for sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely will share that. Okay. The respective people will reach you out and they will also get in touch with you. And if you would be having any feedbacks, you can give these feedbacks to the respective people who reached you out. Okay. We have Discord, guys. We have Discord. A Discord server will make sure that you get added to it by today itself. So don't worry about that. All right. Certification at the end of the course, whoever will be attending the the whole course, depending upon the attendance, will give you the certification also. Okay. So yeah, certification is there. How to push code from VS Code to GitHub by using Git. We will have a look on Git, but not into too much of a detail. So yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, you'll get the links, guys. You'll get the invite links. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If you'd be having any queries, you know where to find me. LinkedIn, reach me out there itself. Yeah, in the Zoom itself, it happens. So don't worry about that. Okay. So yeah, everything would be done from our side itself. All right, guys. So if you have any doubts, please put that in the chat section. Else, just give me a yes. We'll end up with the session. Guys, I'm telling you, the link will be shared out with you. The Discord link will be shared out with you. Okay. Please share your wallpaper. I'll do that. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Python sessions are about to happen. Don't worry about that. Thank you so much, guys, for joining up the session. I hope you enjoyed the session. And I really hope you are learning something out of these sessions. And yeah, we'll be meeting tomorrow. And if you'd be having any queries, any doubts, please feel free to push your doubts in my LinkedIn. I'll be highly, highly appreciative of that. Is there the yeah, attendance will be there in the Zoom itself. Okay, so Zoom will take care of it. Thank you so much, Ajinkya. Makes me happy. I told you why the other headings were not visible, Shravan. The reason I commented the other headings. Okay. Yeah, you have to, guys, you have to join the session tomorrow with the same link that has been shared. It will be the same link throughout the whole week. Okay. I talked about comments. Go ahead and watch the video. We'll share you out with the video. So yeah, we'll do that. Any attendance for today? I told you, Zoom takes the attendance depending upon the 50% plus. If you have the whole session for 2 hours and you have been there for more than an hour, the attendance will be there automatically. Don't worry about that. 20 seconds tak rahega. Okay? That's fine, Charan. That's fine. We didn't talk too much about in the first session. Yeah, we'll make you guys updated on the Discord community itself, and we'll make sure that you are enrolled today itself, and you'll also get the LMS access. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You can join a little bit late. I wait for everyone to join in first. All right. All right then, guys. Thank you so much for joining up. We'll be meeting tomorrow. If you'd be having any other questions related to this, you can push it on my link. I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay. It's a writing pad, Anjit. It's a writing pad. My handwriting? No, my handwriting is really bad. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be meeting tomorrow at the same time. And thank you so much for attending the session. I hope you're liking it and I hope you're learning something out of it. Okay. And this really makes me feel happy that you guys are really interested in it. Okay. So yeah, we'll